Push the button. Oh, took it now. Hell yeah. I know my dogs are watching. And if you ain't, I know you will be. And if you are watching and you ain't my dog yet, I know you will be, because my name is Swede and I'm going to help you get busy living. Yes, thanks for joining me once again on the Get Busy Living podcast, where we're doing 55 months in a row and on at least one epic adventure every single month. And tonight it's about seizing the moment. But first, nothing's worth having if you ain't sharing it. So allow me to welcome to the stage an entrepreneur out of Los Angeles, the author and star of unblawyourself.com. Please put your hands together for the dazzling D. Rex Eckstein.
Oh, thank you once again. Happy to be here. Oh, listen, I was going to put on my laughing and clapping and it didn't. I don't know. Someday I'm going to get the hang of this. But I'm happy to be here, as always. Like you were just saying right before we started, isn't this fun? And it really is. It's so fun to get together with all of you every week. I look forward to it so much. So if you're here and I see that you are, say hi in the comments, because we want to say hi to you and involve you in the conversation.
Hell yeah. Come on, y'all. Look, we are here for you, with each other, but for you. Seriously. So if you're here too, let us know. I don't know. I mean, you're on YouTube if you're watching right now, because we're not streaming anywhere else. So if you're watching, you're on YouTube. Thank you for tuning in. Please hit that subscribe button. It does help. Why? I don't know. It's all about you as far as I'm concerned. But the more of you there is, then the more of us there will be. And the more of us there become, the more fun for everyone. That's how we're working this out. So all the revenues that are generated through this podcast, through the Help Swede Walk Again organization, are all getting poured back into the Get Busy Living project. That's helping 10 other people the way I was helped. That's helping you, the audience, get busy living with us. And that's helping the huge, huge party happen, so that I can thank all of you that chipped in to save my life a long time ago. So please, by all means, let us know you're here. Say what's up to me and D-Rex, and chime in on the show when we talk about things. You got something you got to say about it. D-Rex, what are we talking about tonight?
Oh, well, we have a very interesting guest who you know very well. And I can't wait to have her tell her story, because it does involve helping you get out of your jam. But it's so much more than that. You know, she's such an interesting person. It has so much to say. And should we just get right to it? Or did you want to do some updates first?
I think before we bring her on, I don't think we should leave it out any longer. Let's go and get her in here. But I do want to let the audience know, when I first met this girl, I'm not going to bullshit you. So I was at the house when the interview got lined up, and I was with Kelly. You guys all know Kelly. And I was like, yo, we got a chance to go do this interview real quick. She's available now. You want to come with me? And she's like, yeah. And so she comes with me. And within like 10 or 15 minutes of being there and just like getting to hear this girl out and like let her like lead the conversation and like just talk about, you know, what could possibly happen to, you know, if we started working together. And I started peeking around Starbucks. I was like, because she was saying all the right things, almost like she had a script. I was looking over at Kelly. I was like, is this a prank? Is this a joke? Did you guys plot this? Like, how did you know to say that? Kelly's like, I don't know. I've never met this person before in my life. And she's like, I don't know at all. And I'm like, well, I got to tell you, it feels like this is pre-programmed or something. Like I'm in the Matrix, because you're just too good to be true. So ladies and gentlemen, please help me and D-Rex welcome to the stage Summer Beydler, my girl. Summer's in the house.
Where is she? There she is. We got two fingers on the trigger there. Hey, Summer.
Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey, boy. Hey.
So, you know, can we just... Oh, you are welcome, and we are happy to have you here. Can we just start by filling in the people that are here? We just want to fill them in on how this all began, because you weren't always a caregiver, and you're not really a caregiver now. You're many, many things, and maybe you want to tell people what you do.
Well, I'm a real estate broker with my family company, Value of the Sun Real Estate.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and you've been doing this how long?
My entire life. I like to say I've been in real estate since preconception. Because when I was born, my parents had this company, and my father was in real estate, or at least that's how it all worked out. And I've always just kind of wanted to be like him. So I took on the business when I was young. I was 14 when I got my certification to be a real estate assistant through the Arizona School of Real Estate. And I was 18 in 5 days when I got my real estate license. And after that, I became a real estate broker. So now I work alongside my father, and I love what I do.
Oh
So
yeah.
that's what's interesting to me is like you live and breathe real estate, but somehow you ended up helping Swede get to his second lease on life.
Because she's a hustler, man. This girl, she wears the real estate cloak, because it looks good on your business card. But this girl knows a little bit about everything. I feel like she's been reading, nonstop since she was the day, whatever, preconception. Is that what you said?
That's the word I like to use. No, I was in college, and I was having a little bit of a slow time with real estate, and I need to keep busy. And so I decided to go on to care.com, where you can do babysitting, you can do tutoring, pet watching, or caregiving. And so I went on there, and Swede's daughter Lyric reached out to me saying, "Hey, we could really use your help." And I said, "I know nothing about being a caregiver, nothing." And she goes, "It doesn't matter. All you need to do is care enough to try and be helpful, and we really, really need you." And I said, "Well, then let's figure out what we can do. How can I help?" And that's kind of where we started.
That's fascinating to me that you just kind of jumped in to help this person you just met.
Just jumped in, isn't it? That's like the understatement of the year.
I mean,
someone who really needed me. And it was clear that he was a good person in a really tough position, and that I could make a difference. And I just did. It was the right thing to do.
That's real. I wouldn't be surprised if Kelly was on. And Kelly, if you're out there, raise your hand if you want to chime in and tell your side of the story when we met Summer. Like, honestly, that was the way that that it was out there. Was we were looking for people that just were 100% reliable. That's the only thing that mattered, really, because in the condition I was in, I'd been in skilled care for 3 years, and being alone at night, knowing that I really can't. If I'm on my back, I'm like a turtle. I can't help myself. And I'd never spent the night alone since I'd been injured. And so when I was talking to the agencies that were responsible for doing the staffing, and they were talking about just having any old person come over, that wasn't good enough for me. I needed to know that I was going to feel comfortable with the people that I was putting my life in their hands, So I was interviewing for months and months and months. And the thing is that it's not a job you get if you're in it for the money. I promise you that. And so when I was coming to the interview, I was like, look, I was just telling everyone in the interview, I was like, look, I know it's on a high paying position. That's why I'm hoping that you'll feel like we could be friends, because then you're just hanging out with a friend and you happen to get a little bit of money on the side, And like a lot of people were like needing the money mostly. And it's funny because I don't think any of the girls that started helping me at that point, Summer included, were really in it for the money, because they were all hustlers on the other side, and so they all, decided to throw in a little bit at a time. It was 3 hours in the morning or 3 hours at night, and trying to make it easy on them so that it didn't really take that long. And I tried to make it so that it wasn't always just about helping me at the house. I invited them, to join me for, dinner and drinks and whatever I was into. How I am. I invite always. I'm an inviter, so, so yeah, it wasn't very long before, when Kelly saw me have a conversation with the facility, and by the time I got off the phone, she was in tears. She was like, hell bent on not sending me back there, let me sleep there again. And that's when we called Summer up, because Summer had expressed interest in joining the team when it was time. And I called her up and I was like, Kelly's wanting to do it all alone, but one more person would make it twice as ezy for her. And Summer was like, well, what was she like?
And that's another reason I joined, is that I saw that Kelly was doing this pretty much on her own. And she has a kid and she has another job and she needed help too. So now there was these two good people on a good mission with a good story that needed my help. So it's like, how do you turn that down if you can make it work? And I didn't party much in high school or college, right? So I didn't really know what it was like to go out for drinks. He got me when I was 20.
Oh, get out. You make it sound like I'm up there now.
No, it was a safe place in order to learn how to have a good time.
Wait, how old are you right now?
I'm 24.
No, it was only 2 years ago.
21.
It's 2 years
See,
ago.
21. I was freshly 21.
See, that's another
Years
thing
ago, you
people
were
might not
22.
know. People don't know that she actually went on an accelerated path through college and got her degree early. Like this is a go-getter girl right here. This is a person who is only 24, got her college degree early, became a real estate agent early, bought her first townhome early. And, I think that as older people, and, I think I can speak as an older person now, heading toward that
Older than me.
second, yeah, by a month,
Hey,
second
I'm
half of my
21.
life. Well, anyhow, as older people, we somehow, forget that there's a lot to learn from certain young people. Young people get dismissed, for what they might know. But I feel like you have a lot to teach people about how to take on every opportunity that comes your way. Even though you don't really know where it's going to lead you, you just say yes and you start doing things. And I have so many questions I want to ask you about that. Well, first of all, what made you want to decide to get through college on an accelerated path?
The honest answer, not the fancy answer, is that I wasn't really enjoying it. And I wanted to get out. So I took on as much schoolwork as I could in order to race through my degree. I just wanted to go on and do my job. I wanted to make money and help people and buy and sell my own real estate. And college was kind of in the way. So in high school, I got pretty much my associate's worth of credits, doing dual credit classes and AP courses, going to the community college on the side. And then when I got to ASU, I was able to finish my bachelor's in marketing at W.P. Carey School of Business in 2.5 years.
That's wild. I was going to ask you if you felt like there was anything that you regretted from trying to finish college early, but it sounds like absolutely not.
No, and I actually might end up going back one day. To get my master's is not out of the question yet. And I think I might enjoy it now being a little bit older. But I do not regret speeding through my college time. I was able to get to a lot of things that mean a lot to me in real estate, and also being able to make time to be with Swede and things like that. So it was a good thing.
Imagine that you're watching this podcast and you heard about it and you heard somebody was talking about, all of this wisdom about being about their money and then you hear somebody talking about they're 21 and it's not the one in their 20s talking about being 21 and the one that's the old one talking about being about their money. It's such a role reversal.
Yeah, I really feel like it would be
in the house. I'm sorry. I want to shout out to Scooty Wells, the wolf, the one and only. That's your tour guide for Adventurous Alaska. All you got to do is go to the hswa.com, put $25 down on a copy of The Life and the Year of Swedism's book, get yourself entered into the raffle. And at 2,000 copies, we're going to pull our name out of the hat and send you to Alaska. That's the wolf, Scooty Wells. Sorry.
You just said your website name wrong. Yeah, it's .org, everybody, .org.
That's it. See, that's why we do it live, because I don't have an excuse if I do that and we edit it. It's no fun. Hey, Tasha, thanks for showing up. What up, Smiles? Hey, guys, thanks for tuning back in. As always, I'm telling you, this one's special. Y'all, I mean, they're all special, but she's special.
You're gonna make me cry.
No, all bullshit aside. Look, the thing is that I struck gold multiple times when I found those girls that helped me out. Like, you guys have met them, you've met them all. I think Hannah is on her way, and once she shows up, then then that little awesome foursome that I met here when I rose from the ashes in Phoenix will have made their appearances on the podcast. But listen, this girl, like, she would come in the mornings, like, she has a very busy schedule, and they all had their things. So they just fit together perfectly and covered me 7 days a week. And so she had mornings every other day. And I think Kelly had mornings every other day, something like along those lines. And she would come in and like seriously, it wasn't like being in an old folks home anymore. And it wasn't like being in my own bedroom. It was like being in a spa.
Oh.
It was like, she was like seriously over the top, above and beyond. She organized the house. She wrote me a caregiver handbook. I mean, come on, y'all.
So we get the
Amazing.
washcloth,
Summer, yeah.
the hot washcloth in the morning on his face.
Yeah.
You know, I was just, you know, you gotta think about what he can and can't do for himself and the little luxuries that we afford ourselves every day, and give him the respect and, you know, ability to enjoy those things too. So if I like a warm washcloth on my face in the morning, then he probably does too. And so that's probably what I should be, you know, helping with. And that just seemed kind of instinctual and just normal for me. But it didn't really seem to be something he was used to. So I was really glad I was able to bring that to the table.
Nah, that's used to? Are you kidding me? You know where I just crawled out of? Like, literally, so I got out of the facility on the 30th. My first night alone, Jay and I went to Vegas the next day. So I came back from Vegas, and then I started living there, right? And it was Kelly and Summer, Kelly and Summer, Kelly and Summer, Kelly and Summer, you know? And so, man, I'm going to shed a tear. Remember what my backside looked like beet red, like as red as this live thing up right here? As red as that. My ass was that red.
Oh.
And it was severely wounded. The way that people are cared for in those facilities is by no fault of the staff. I want to be clear about that. Most of my real life, second lease life friends are people that were in those places, and they're working their asses off. But it is not designed for people to succeed in them places. Man, I came out of there in worse shape than I went in. You know, my spinal cord wasn't any better, but everything else was worse. So I was lucky to get out of there, man. Those places are terrible. But when I got out of there, I was in bad shape, and these girls like took me into their hands and their hearts. And like, seriously, man, there's a reason that I pour into this podcast and I pour into this nonprofit, because I want to be able to repay, you know, Summer, and I want to be able to repay Kelly and Hannah and Paloma and Lyric. And I mean, look, I'm gonna welcome Blair to get on tonight. I got my buddy Blair here, and Blair's been a very generous, one of very many folks that I've been chatting with my nonprofit consultant about how to recognize the people that have been chipping in. I've got several, regular monthly recurring donations going on. And, people are just very generous in helping me out with this. And I poured all into this, trying to make this thing happen. So we got 6 months down. 7 months is this month, my birthday month. And for my birthday, I'm going to a stem cell convention.
I'm so excited about this. Tell us a little bit about what you hope to do there.
I was hoping. Yeah, I remember to take the loop button off.
I know. I was thinking no loop, no loop.
Oh, bullshit aside, though, I'm really excited about this one, y'all, because look, this podcast is a means to broadcast a message. When I really start picking up steam and we really start making progress in the nonprofit community, this podcast is going to be our way of speaking and being in touch with them. So next month, or 10 days from now, 9 days from now, I'll be in Texas at the Stem Cell Institute is having a convention there, and all kinds of valuable information. And I'm just going to go there and, just drill down deep into that community and try to, make some progress so we can get my man Schaefer and other people that we know we can help, the help that they deserve. So I want to show you guys, Lori sent me the latest of what my man Shay's got going on. So for those of you who don't know, this podcast is sponsored by the Help Swede Walk Again organization. That's the fundraising heart's sake that saved my life and is now an official nonprofit with the IRS. So anyway, what our goal is to help 10 people the way that we've been helped, the way that I've been helped. And my man Schaefer was our first nominee. So if you know somebody that you think could be helped from stem cell therapies or other therapies that aren't typically covered by government insurance, that's the type of things that we're targeting. Please do send us an email to nominations@hswa.org, and we will try to let us know what the story is. And as our collective kindness grows and more revenues are generated from this podcast, we're going to just channel it all back to these people and try to get them some help. So I want to bring my man Shafe Mezzacapo back to the stage. That's so much heart in this kid, man. When you're in the room with him, you can feel his energy is bursting out of his flesh, man. This kid, man, I'm telling you.
Like this, Mom.
Yeah.
Like that, Mom.
Yeah, that's my dog. And she sent me a picture of him. She said he's got a fresh in the fade. Did you see that? Look. Yeah, I'm gonna play it one more time just so you can see. Look, he's smiling.
Why not?
Moses kid's gonna be high and tight. You know what I mean?
Like that, Mom.
Yeah.
So we believe that Schaefer could be helped by stem cell treatments. And that's really what we're trying to do first here. We're trying to raise money to help Schaefer and then people like him. And I mean, who wouldn't want to help that guy? I mean, what spirit, what drive, what a wonderful little dude. I can't wait until we can help him, and we will.
There's no question. We won't stop. As long as we keep having fun with this, D-Rex, as long as we keep having people like Summer to kick it with us, we're going to keep this stuff cruising. And I love that when you were describing the impression that Summer made on you, and you were talking about, somebody that has soaked up so much the information that's been offered and has gone so far to go seize more information. How much more getting busy can living be than this? Summer, what do you think is what has been a driving force for you? You just kind of had a voice in the back of your head. Is it a burning in your gut? Why are your balls so big, girl?
That was a good question. How would I answer? I guess I really take after my dad. He also has a type A personality like I do, and we're just thinkers. My brain just doesn't stop. It's hard to calm down sometimes because I just want to keep pushing forward and do something every day that I know is going to benefit my future. Even if you improve 1% a day, right? It's 365% a year. So you just keep pushing forward. And I knew that if I put in the sacrifice now while I have the energy and the time and, my brain is malleable and it can take in information more quickly, that later in life, I'd be really happy about that.
Are you taking a shot at D-Rex? Are you trying to say her brain doesn't take in information quickly?
I'm the old one here.
Don't listen to her. You're not old.
My parents were a little bit older when they had me, and so I learned a lot from them in that way. They had lots of good advice, and they were a little further in their careers when they had me, and I just wanted to be just like them. So when they had that company, and my dad was he was in politics, and he just kept pushing forward. I said, I want to do that. I want to be that. I want to get there, and I want to get there sooner. And so that kind of happened. My dad was 47 when he had me. So a little bit older than normal. But
whoa, so you're saying if I get busy living like within the next, I don't know, a couple of weeks, because if I got busy living in the next couple of weeks, that would be about the same time I got busy living way back when Lyric was conceived, if you're picking up what I'm putting down here. That child would be born when I was 47. So you're saying that maybe what are you trying to say here? That's a good time to do it?
Older father, but it really worked out for me. So I'm not discouraging it.
I went to your birthday party. I thought your dad was hip.
My dad is a very cool person. Yeah. I've been trying to download his brain since I was little. If I could just be a younger female version of him, I would have been successful.
You're getting there. You're a little bit faster talker than he is. He's like, he listens more than you do.
That's true.
I mean, no shots fired, Summer. You're not like.
It's true. It's true. I always have room to grow.
True that. True that.
Hey, Scooty Wells wants to pipe up here. It says, I want to hear Summer's experience with meeting Swede for the first time. What your preconceived idea of what caring for him would look like versus how it actually turned out to be.
Oh, the wool coming strong.
Okay. I didn't really know what to expect. I knew that it was going to be outside my comfort zone, and I know I'd be doing things that I hadn't done before. I wasn't expecting him to be so cool, but very few people are. So when I met him, it was kind of like, wow, this is fun. This is, a lot of energy and a really cool story. And I had to Google it to make sure that he wasn't just bullshitting me.
I was bullshitting you.
I know.
In fact, I haven't stopped.
So yeah, and then I was all in, and he goes, no, I want you to take a night and think about it first. I don't want you just saying yes and then disappointing me later or disappointing yourself, or I want to make sure I'm cool with you too. So we took a night to think about it, and the next day it was like, well, yeah. I mean, the first time I ever met him, we went out for beers. So it's kind of hard to be like, no, I won't work with you. Like, come on.
That's a true story, man. So we were at the interview at Starbucks, and Kelly was like, okay, I came with her. Yes, I approve. Can I go now? And I'm, yeah, thank you for coming. And Kelly, I think Kelly was it was probably about 1 minute before Kelly left. Summer was like, okay, did I pass? Can we go have drinks now? So me and Summer over at Devil's Advocate watching the Steelers game. Remember I told you I was going to watch the Steelers game, and I was kind of like, okay, let's hurry up and hire her because he's perfect, But I didn't want to hire her on the spot, so I was like, yeah, we can go have a drink, So then we went over there, and she didn't have time to watch the whole game. She had her other stuff to do there too, but she's like, okay. So I was like, all right, so don't say yes or no right now. Just we'll be in touch, and let's think it over. And then so we arranged for a second interview. And do you remember the second time that we met up?
Mm-hmm.
How'd it go?
You're starting the story. You finished the story.
She had her homie Ari with her. Oh, that girl's a trip, man. I love her too. So I show up, and Summer and Ari are at that coffee shop, and we had a really cool conversation talking about all about their background, and I felt like I was getting two for the price of one because Ari's energy she was trustworthy too, and that's my point, y'all, is that like you were gonna have to be trustworthy in order to be a caregiver for me, because there's no calling off. I mean, if I wake up in the morning and I need help, I'm literally helpless. And sometimes it's an emergency. And if I can't reach the phone or it's dead for some reason and there's something going wrong. And at that stage of my life, as most of you that have been tuned into this good journey for me know, I've been hospitalized almost once a month for the past 5 years. So not having, you can't just call off. So I was telling everybody when I was interviewing them that, there's no calling off. You can call each other, and cover for each other, but there's no calling off. And so when Ari was there, like she seemed like she was cool immediately too. So we were leaving the coffee shop to go back to my place. I was like, okay, well, if you're going to work here, let's go see where your workplace is going to be, And as we were driving back towards my place, Summer, instead of driving off and meeting me there, she gets in the road and starts driving at the same speed as me. So I'm trucking along in my wheelchair at 70 miles an hour, and Summer's driving along talking to me. And we drove past Four Peaks, remember? Mm-hmm. And they had a big sign. It was during COVID. They had a big sign, take out beer, like walk up. And so I was like, and Summer's like, And so we go over there, and we're just going to grab some beer to go. And we go up there, and the bartender's like, we got all these custom, beers, Four Peaks, which is one of my favorite joints to this day. They're like, we've got all these beers that we make here, and they let us sample them. So we go to take a couple samples, and it was so good. And me and Ari look at each other, and we're like, wow, what is that? And he's like, yeah. And we're like, yeah, what? And he's like, that's what it is. And we're like, what's what it is? And he's like, wow. The beer is named Wow. And we literally just looked at each other and like, wow, it's super delicious. Like really kind of fruity and light and sweet. It's like having like juicy fruit bubble gum, only beer. And but we tried another sample. Remember, we had 2 samples, and within the time that it took for those 2 samples and for us to buy the beer and take it, because it was a long time, we had all looked at each other and agreed that none of us had eaten yet that day. And that little time, those 2 little samples, 2 shots of beer, Summer was like, I'm already kind of feeling like, I need to eat, So we ended up just eating there, remember? And then we got beer to go.
Your memory is impeccable. But yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
One of the only jobs that I'll work on.
Well,
I haven't been to Four Peaks with you yet, so I would like to go to Four Peaks with both of you next time I'm in Phoenix.
Oh, count on it. Absolutely. We're getting Kelly too, because they've got the best sweet chili edamame, and that's her choice dish in town. So like, I feel like I owe her for the carrot cake.
Oh yeah, that's delicious.
I know, man. It was gone. I only got 1 bite of it. By the time I got done with it,
I had 2 pieces. I was kind of a pig.
That's awesome.
I wanna get back to asking Summer some questions, because I have so many questions.
Hell yeah.
But I don't feel like we really answered that one. Like Scott was wondering, like how when you met him, your perceived notion of who he was and like how the job turned out. Did it match? Was it different?
It pretty much matched. Yeah, what I saw was what I got. He was that funny, cool person, and he told me it was going to be a lot of work, and I knew, at that moment that what I needed to do, and it kind of continued on. Although there was one time where we were training a new caregiver, or at least seeing if they could help, and it did put me in a position that I wasn't expecting. So it was somebody who also hadn't been a caregiver before. And they came back to Swede's place, and we were going to get him ready for bed. And we just, yeah, you remember now. I was changing his colostomy bag, and then she's watching, and all she has to do is watch. And just the sight of that alone, she passed out.
She was like,
but she hit behind her. So she fell directly back, no protective instincts. She just fell.
It's not funny. I'm sorry.
And she hit her head, and it was bleeding. And so I have a girl is on the floor with a bleeding head, and then I have Swede in a swing. And now I have to make the decision as to who do I care for first, and is she all right? And needless to say, that really wasn't a position that suited her. She went and found something else. But
I never heard from her again.
Oh my gosh.
So
would you say that's today's fun fact? Because I didn't make the sweetgrits yet.
She's a sweet girl, her heart was in the right place, but this job's not for everybody.
Oh my goodness. No, it is not. And it's amazing that you fit into so many roles, actually, because you were in the real estate role for so long, then you got into this caregiving role. And then not only that, we didn't even bring up yet that you love to do tutoring on the side because you love to teach.
Yes.
Like that's a lot of things. Tell us about your tutoring.
Okay, so I was, really good at school. That was just something that I always knew I could do. So when it came time to fill in some spare time or make a little cash on the side, tutoring was kind of like a no-brainer. So I joined Tutor Doctor, and they're a great company. And so now I tutor probably half a dozen kids, and I absolutely love it. Teaching is a passion of mine. I always will do it, whether I'm teaching real estate or I'm teaching algebra. It's just something that really gives me a lot of joy. So I teach K through 12, some college courses, but I will not teach chemistry. I'm not a fan.
Wait a second. Why? Why not chemistry?
So there's a different language to chemistry that I don't know yet. And so everything else to me feels like logic-based English or math. Like those, I can do a lot of deductive reasoning. History, I can read, but when it comes to chemistry, now I have to learn a whole new set of principles, a whole new language, and a whole new way of things interacting with one another. And I never really spent a whole lot of time learning that. So to teach it wouldn't really be doing my students justice.
It's not like anything else. I've been doing more chemistry than anything since I got injured. It's the most predominant subject of my nutrition degree, and I have a minor in biochemistry, so I know exactly what you're saying. It's gut wrenching sometimes. It's completely foreign. It's this really, really strange geometry, along with learning a language. So yeah, it's crazy. You can't fake it.
No, you can't
So-
just like logic your way through it.
Yeah.
You have to know the information going in. And that's just something I don't know. But I know
I just think it's interesting. You seem to be like good at everything. I can teach everything, but not chemistry.
This is
It's
my
like, yeah. So you know, say that again.
I will learn one of these days.
Don't waste your
Oh, I
time
don't-
unless you really need to.
I think
Yeah, I'm a big fan of concentrating on what you're good at and kind of like ignoring what you're bad at. Because there's other people that do that.
Yeah, I like to challenge myself, learn new things all the time. Your brain's just a muscle, so it's like flexing it. So when I'm tutoring like calculus, it's a refresh for me too. And it's good for me. It's deductive reasoning skills, it's logic, it's problem solving. And so if I take on a new subject, now it's another strength, a new connection I can make in my head and understand the world around me a little better. So when I have a moment, which doesn't seem like I have much time these days, I will take the time to learn, and then I can be even more useful for some of my students.
I'm curious. Oh, go ahead, Swede.
No, you go ahead. You're curious.
I'm curious if you actually can speak other languages. And then I accidentally pressed this button that I was going to press later. So I have two things here. One is I'm just going to read this from Ray. As a friend of Swede, I want to thank you for taking care of my friend. People like you are angels on earth. Appreciate you. Hopefully your love and passion will spread and be contagious across the people. Thank you.
Hell yeah. That's
That's
my dog.
sweet, Ray. Thank you.
Hell yeah.
I care about him a lot, so
Hell yeah.
I'm happy to do it.
So the question that I was trying to ask you was, so do you speak other languages as well?
I studied Spanish, but I'm not fluent. I can teach high school Spanish, but I can't, have a full conversation with someone and sound like I know what I'm talking about.
How can you speak it, or how can you teach it and not be fluent? Is it because the curriculum is teachable?
The
Is it like
teachable.
pay by number?
It's conjugating verbs. It is, just memorizing different vocabulary. It's pronunciation. I can do all of those things. I can write in it. I can compose sentences, but I need a piece of paper, the internet, and a pencil, and I can work my way through it.
So you teach, you said K through 12. Like you actually have taught some kindergartners?
Yeah, so I have.
Okay, so I don't think you know this about me, but I actually work with children, and they say the most craziest things to me. So I'm just wondering, what sticks out in your mind is one of the craziest things kids said to you?
Oh my gosh. So I had a little kid recently walk over with a piece of art, and he drew a person or himself or somebody, and he goes, "This is for you." And I say, "Oh, that's wonderful. Wait, what's that?" And he goes, "It's his pee-pee."
And was it a picture of you?
No, it wasn't me. But I thought that was pretty funny. Kids take the
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh. That reminds me. Oh my goodness. Because that just made me think of another pee-pee story, and I think I should tell it because it's the wildest thing I ever heard in my life. And it was this 7-year-old boy, and he was telling me about his birthday party. He said, "Did you know we had a ninja birthday party, and we had a real ninja who came and taught us everything. He taught us ninja moves. And then he asked if we had any more questions. So I asked him if he could pee in his own mouth. And he said, 'Don't ask me questions like that.'"
All the way to the end. Isn't it funny? Like kids like that, like it's like they have to hurry up and get it all out before their parents tell them to fuck off.
He was
Well,
racing
play.
like that.
I used to go outside and play all the time. Grams loved me, but she'd be like, "Damn it, Jeffrey, stop playing with my hair." I'm just kidding. Grams didn't call me Jeffrey. She called me Poopsie. There,
Poop
there, Uncle
seed.
Pete. I said it. You can no longer hold it against me for the rest of our lives. You've been holding it against me. I told everybody. There, you guys happy? Yeah. Graham's called me Poopsie. Have it.
You took the power right out of his
Yeah.
step there. Yeah. So I didn't actually want to spend all this time talking about your tutoring, but I did find it really interesting that you're doing all of these things and that you found one thing that is not your role, and that's chemistry. And I think that's good. Identify also what you're not good at. But one thing you're really good at is getting your life in order early. And as a real estate agent, so young, did you find that people actually trusted you to do the job, or did you run into some ageism? Because I imagine that you did.
I still do. But my kind of technique going into it was the first thing I did was bought my own real estate. So I knew that no one was going to listen to me, nor could I properly guide someone until I've done it myself. So when I was 18 and a couple months old, I bought my first townhome. And I did it with the seller carry because I had no credit. And that's where I stayed while I was going to college. Held that for 3 years, sold that, bought a house, sold that. Now I live in my childhood home next door to my parents, which is really exciting. I love being next door to them, love them to death. And so I found a way to build some credibility there, right, by being successful in my own real estate adventures. And then I have my father as my mentor. So I always leaned back on him. So if someone was doubting me, then I would just bring up his credibility and kind of get him involved in the conversation so that they knew there was a more experienced agent behind me and that I wasn't just doing this all alone and that I could actually, represent their best interest. And it's been a battle, but that's okay. It builds character.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that, the fact that you have had, I've heard you express your gratitude for the fact that you've had a role model that's been so outstanding for you, and that you give the credit where the credit is due, and you recognize that you're taking advantage of opportunity. And look, we try to be relatable on the show. There are people that can relate to that. There's a lot of people out there that, have legitimate struggles in their life. And just because certain things were given to them and made it a little simpler for them doesn't mean that it was easy for them. Nothing is easy. You know what I mean? There are things that are less stressful and things that are more stressful. And there are things that are more serious and less serious, but there's no such thing as easy. And the fact that you've not just tread water with it, where so many people are given so much more and fail, you're not just treading water and like taking what's come to you. You're like running past what's been offered to you. And that's what I really find, so admirable. And like what really, I was telling D-Rex, I was like, she's not just like that when it comes to business. Like she is a life liver, an experience haver, a go-getter, a get busy girl for sure.
It's important to take the most out of everything you're given. If there's a way to do it better, then that's what you should be doing. Always, reflect your own self perspective. So I want to think of myself in a highlight. So everything I do, I want to do it in a way that I can look back later and not have any regrets or know that I did my best. And that comes down to the details, and it kind of builds a self-image. And that's been really, really important to me.
I have a question for you, because it sounds like you've planned all this, but how far do you plan ahead? Do you think ahead about like where you want your life to be in a year, 5 years, 10 years? You just fly by the seat of your pants? What are you doing?
So when I first started, like let's say freshman year of high school, I put together a 5-year plan, and it was exactly what I did. It was very detailed. I was going to graduate high school at this age. I was going to graduate college at this age. I was going to get a scholarship. I was going to be a young licensed agent. I was going to get my broker's license. I was going to do real estate. These were things that I wanted, and I planned ahead far in advance, and I made sure that they happened. But over time, there's always, changes, right? The details. Like caregiving and tutoring and finding passions. I didn't plan that. That's just kind of happened. And now my plans are getting a little less in the future and a little bit more on the now. Right now, I'm working on building my business, taking great care of my clients, self-improvement, building my relationships. And I know that with time, those priorities are going to serve me well. So my next 5 years aren't planned out like they were the 5 years prior, but I think that they're going to be equally as productive.
You're damn right they are, because you're going to be getting busy living with us, baby. We got 49 months to go. 48. See, I'm going to mess that up a bunch. But look, so this month I'm going to go do this Texas thing. And look, you guys are welcome to come. It's a great thing to be a part of. You're going to learn all about stem cells, which I believe to be the fountain of youth. But next month in April, we're going to go canoeing on Blackwater River in the Panhandle, Florida. So I'm going to head into Destin. I'm going to kick it in Destin for a few days. And about halfway through that Destin trip, I'm going to head up to the Blackwater River and go canoeing. And I got my boy, the Wolf, Scooty Wells in Florida with his feet on the ground, trying to work out how I'm going to get on the river. I got other people like Jigga J Calcut. You guys know him, love him. He's also got some ideas. He's got some guys that are, what dare I say, little like urban engineers. Jay actually has been a hustler himself, and like soups up golf carts and sells like fancy golf carts down there in the Panhandle. So, I got people on the ground down there that are going to help me make it happen, because obviously with my hips the way they are, for me to be able to get into a canoe is virtually impossible. I mean, it's not impossible, but it's very bulky to get me in, very bulky to get me out. And then if anything happens while I'm in there, I'm up the creek with no paddle. And the thing is, it wouldn't be comfortable for me to be in there anyway. What few recognize is that this chair is very strong and supports me in an upright manner. But anytime I'm in any kind of other furniture, including beds and chairs and sofas, I almost always like slide down out of them because they aren't sturdy enough to hold me upright. So I've got braces on my knees that prevent me from flopping backwards. But when I'm in other places, I have to have a very strong back. So hospital beds work, this chair works, but like any typical canoe or kayak or wheelchair is not going to work. So it's going to take some ingenuity. But if you guys are willing to join us, it's going to be the third week in April. We're going to be down in Destin. That's going to be month number 8 of the Project 55. So Summer, you want to talk about a 5-year plan? How about that for a 5-year plan?
That's pretty fun too.
Yeah, you remember when we met? I told you I was doing this, didn't you? You were probably like, this guy is full of shit, What did you think about because I was telling the folks during the interviews, and it took me probably 50 interviews to find 2, and that's Kelly and Summer. And then Paloma was in the first 55 too. She told me from the get that she only really wanted to be like a fallback, and so but she was also one of the original 4. But the point is that when I was talking about it, I was like, look, I've got an elaborate plan to get back on my feet. And it's going to involve helping a lot of people first. And the first people I'm going to help are the people that help me. So if you put your hand in the pile and help me get out of this, I'm going to find out what you're good at and figure out what you enjoy doing and figure out a way to fit you into the project so that we can put your skills on display and like help you get busy living too. And so I'm proud to say, D-Rex, you mind if I tell Summer what you said on the phone today about when you? No, I'll let that between you and you. That'll be a private.
Okay, because I don't even know what it was. But I would like to put this up here that Ray said, if I'm there, we got you. I will swim next to you if I had to.
So all bullshit aside, the only person that I can think of that I know their name now that I might have known before I met Ray Ferrito is this guy named Brian a kid named Brian that lived across the alley from me when I lived on 13th and Ash in Erie, PA. Brian Oler. Brian, if you see this, holler at me. Right before I graduated high school, I went to the east side and picked Brian up and we went out and had some food and stuff. And it's good to see him. But anyway, I knew Ray because he was in my first grade class. Miss Novicki, Piper Burley, 1984.
Wow. I can't remember things like
podcast,
that.
40 years later. How about that? Thanks for coming, Ray. That's my dog.
I haven't had a friend that long, but Ari, the person you were talking about earlier, and I have been friends for almost 11 years now, 10 or 11 years, which I think is wild.
Yeah. So you grew up in this area, yeah?
Yeah, I've been in Chandler for 18 years.
And do you see yourself being the queen of the valley someday? I mean, you're working your way up. What's going on? What you got going on out in Quartzsite?
Oh, wow. So our company now has 2 offices, one in Chandler and one in Quartzsite. And in Quartzsite, we've been doing a lot of real estate. Now, a lot of people don't know much about Quartzsite other than they stop there to get gas on their way to California. But it's actually home to the world's 2nd largest gem and mineral show, second to Tucson. And it swells up to 1.2 to 2 million people in the winter. So
What?
I know.
Million?
Yes.
Get the front door closed.
Never. So
Million people.
1 million people.
That's crazy.
In the winter for this mineral show, and they bring their RVs, and so there's a lot of RV parks, and you can learn more about the culture by watching the 2020 movie of the year, Oscar-winning Nomadland, that was filmed primarily in Quartzsite.
No way. Okay.
Yeah, so we're selling a lot of RV parks, hotels, vacant land, and we're starting the first site-built home community in Quartzsite in the Arroyos. And we have a spec home that's just about to be finished being built, and other listings in that community as well. So you should really check it out. It's a really beautiful town, gorgeous mountain views, and it has a lot to offer.
I have a lot to offer you in the way of saying thank you for all the mornings with the hot cloths, and then honestly, so obviously that was a very deep, but short-lived part of your career, illustrious career, because you could only afford to waste your time with me for so long.
It wasn't that. Eventually, I did need to get more into real estate and spend more time there, but I wasn't willing to kind of take a step back until you had other people in order to assist you. And I was sure that, my absence wasn't going to cause an issue. Or additional stress on you. So I kind of waited until we were both ready, and then we could kind of move the relationship into being really good friends instead of just being friends. And I,
exactly. Exactly.
It sounds like you've had a lot of successes already, and you're 24. But I mean, have there been any big disappointments or anything that didn't go according to plan?
Yeah, actually. The biggest one I can think of is I'm recently divorced. Divorced technically as of last July. I thought I had everything kind of in play. I thought I knew exactly what I was doing, right? So I got kind of cocky and made another big decision while I was young, and it was the wrong one. And that's kind of unfortunate. So I do definitely make my mistakes, and that didn't work out quite the way that I wanted it to. So I know now to focus more on my career and self-development and move past that, So I would say that's probably the biggest disappointment in my adult life. I think as far as, education and career goes, those things I have more of a handle on. And I'm getting better every day at making better personal choices as well.
That's interesting because it just seems like you're living this charmed life, but everybody's got their down moments, right?
Of course, I'm only human, right? So so that's just kind of one of my human qualities, and I learned a lot, and now I can move forward and do better, and approach life with that knowledge now. So I take it as a blessing. You got to look at it in the most positive light, and what can you do with this information to make your future better. There's no use dwelling on it. So
right. I think it's funny that you're in real estate, and usually what we call that first short marriage is the starter marriage. Like a starter home, and you happen to be in both of those things. Well, I was just kind of wondering, because it just seems like you plan things, you do things, you get things done. And I'm just wondering how disappointments hit you. Do you tend to steamroller over them and just keep moving forward? Do you stop and sit with them for a moment? How does it work for you?
I have to sit there with it for a minute. I have to overanalyze it until I fully understand what happened and how to make sure that it either doesn't happen again, or I'm a little bit more prepared next time something happens. So I fully absorb I just don't dwell. I accept, I analyze, I figure out my part in it, what wasn't my part in it, and then take that information to be better.
You know,
Yeah.
that's exactly what I read about when we were doing that podcast on, I think it was just on how do you deal with when you're not where you want to be, or disappointment or something like that. And I was reading a lot on that. And that's exactly what these psychology websites were saying, is that you do need to sit with it. You do need to feel it before moving on. You can't just keep rolling over everything and ignoring that it ever happened. So you automatically choose the healthy way to move through this. That's interesting. Didn't mean to interrupt you, Swede. Go ahead.
No, I'm glad you did. That's a good point. And I've seen this girl get broadsided by some life circumstances that would knock a train off course. And I gave her a little bit of black eye, not physically. She didn't have a black eye on her face, but I could tell that her morale had taken a gut punch, but it wasn't long, man. And she's just right back on her feet, and just like I can imagine like what Summer's clients think when they tour her properties. She just kind of like dances through the homes, like a real estate fairy, and just like make the lights come on magically, and like you hear chimes in the background, and it's like, this house would be perfect for you. And like look, finding a place for me was not easy, and she soldiered through it. And look, it's a lot of bad news, when you're homeless, which we were, we were Airbnb hopping, and like, it was hard, struggling. It's hard enough to be in this condition and have my daily life the way it is. And it's set up for me, but going to a completely foreign place every other day for months because the real estate market out here was so ridiculous, and my needs are so specific, was not easy. And she soldiered right through it, man. Like, she never blinked. Like, Brother Doug was ready to hit me in the knees with a bat. And Summer was out there like punching along, like just steady, more and more properties of view. How long did we go? Like 2.5, 3 months of like steady, nonstop viewing properties to find a place.
I'm really glad that you brought that up, because I would consider that one of my biggest successes in my career, was finding the place we're in right now, which is your home. So along the process, you were very particular, for good reason, but you were very particular. And there were some times where I was like, let's just make something work so you're not homeless. Like, let's just make a decision, right? And I was trying to push you in that direction, but you knew what you wanted and what you needed. And my job is to help you do that, and to be your advocate, and to be your fiduciary. And so if that's what then that's what I was about to do. And I was lucky enough to be able to find this property that is completely set up for someone in your position, and it's accessible throughout the home, and it's just perfect for what you need. And when we found it, it felt like a miracle had happened. But what had really happened is I worked my ass off, and we were persistent as well, and we were able to make it happen. And I consider that a huge, huge victory.
She said douchiary.
Fiduciary. You're a child.
We are children, Summer. We are children.
No one here, guys.
21.
I know. We're forever like 7, though. I just think it's been wonderful having you here, and I can't wait to catch up with you next time I'm in Phoenix. And I love the way you said that, Swede said, when you rose from the ashes in Phoenix. I love that. we definitely got to use that moving forward. But I see that we need to, what?
I was going to say, there have been too many coincidences that have happened since my second lease on life began for me to quit now. So we're going to be doing this again next Thursday. Next Thursday, we're going to be in Dallas.
Oh, yeah. Like, time is just flying. I was like, what?
Month 7 of the Get Busy Living Project 55.
Amazing. Yeah, it's the numbers are growing, and this is a wonderful thing. But I just see that
we're one of the strongest women I've ever met. Oh, Ashley.
Yes, that is my sister right there.
Oh, what's up, girl?
I see that we're going to need to wrap things up. And but I wanted to ask you one final thing, and if you can think of it, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but if you have a good piece of advice you'd like to leave everybody with, I think that you have a lot of wisdom for a 24-year-old, and I'm sure you have something.
Okay. So the piece of advice I would give is the advice that was given to me. It was the best piece of advice I've gotten. I was lucky enough to attend Rose Moffat's birthday party. She was the first woman governor. And I went over to her as a very young person and said, as a woman who's made, been trailblazing, right, and making a name, what would you recommend to someone who, young lady who wants to be good in business? And she said to learn to play golf. But what she really meant was get in the room with people who are doing what you want to be doing. So a lot of business happens on the golf course, so find something in common with these people. So there's a lot of men who are in business. And so find a way to find something in common with them, get in the room, and, make yourself a player. So I would be just like Rose Moffat, tell you to learn to play golf.
Hell yeah. All right. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Summer Beydler. Put your hands together for my girl, Summer. Hey, Summer, listen.
Wonderful.
It's real. The love is real. Not only did you come out of nowhere and literally become an angel in my life, but then you became a close friend. And then you helped me find a home. And ever since then, every time we hang out, is it not 100% fun? So I love you as a friend. I love you as a nurse. I love you as an angel. I'm looking forward to getting busy living with you. So I hope that before too long, we get you on one of the remaining 48 destinations, because
I'll be there.
Hell yeah. So
it.
Listen, I really hope that I know Paloma is seriously considering going to Florida with me in April. I would love a caravan on out there. So if we gotta, if I gotta rent, a mobile bedroom that I can tow behind the Get Busy buggy, so you girls can have a little slumber party as we drive across country, I'm game. All right. So all bullshit aside, think about the third week in April. That goes for all of you out there who are watching this Get Busy Living podcast. If you're watching us live, know that you're always welcome. Smiles is going to be in the house. Hey, so I know for those of you that are already in Florida, I'll be coming at you with the details about what we're going to be doing for that as we get closer. Let me get this Texas thing going. And then when I get back from Texas, we're really going to start hammering the canoe trip hard next month. So until next week, y'all, always remember, we're all in this together. Always remember, no matter the weather, whether sunshine or rain, there's no joy without pain. Always remember, we're all in this together. Can I get a hell yeah?
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Haha. Catch y'all next week.
When you see me, but you gotta believe me. Ain't nothing coming easy my way. No, I'm fucking way.